Tomorrow is 4th of July, Independence Day. Me and Brandon, we were going to review The Spirit, but we couldn't bring ourselves to do it. So, what do you do when you just can't watch one movie? You watch two. This week is the introduction of Mr. Super Oz's new channel regular, All or Nothing, where me and a partner will review a franchise of films, in this case Independence Day and Independence Day Resurgence, and grade them individually, but if they do not both, or in the case of multiple films, if each film doesn't get a 3 or above, then we get nothing. Those films go away forever. I mean, not really, you can watch them anytime you want, but the films are judged collectively, not individually. So it's either all of the franchise stays or all the franchise goes. After the open, figure out what I and Brandon have to say about Independence Day and Independence Day Resurgence. Maybe someday we'll have what it takes to watch The Spirit. But not this time. I hope you have a happy 4th of July tomorrow, and I hope you enjoy the Independence Day and Independence Day Resurgence review. As far as Independence Day 1, like you said before we started, it does feel like there's a major level of nostalgia that fuels it, the love of it. Mm-hmm. Because watching it as just solely just as a film, I was like, man, if this was released in 2020 or like, I don't know, 18 or so, right, in the modern age, it would have been a 6-episode thing on Hulu or Netflix or Amazon or whatever. Mm-hmm. And people would be like, man, that thing ended real strong, and we liked the ending, but like it took a while to get to the meat of it.
Right. Well, and this is the thing. It's like, to me, when was the meat of it? Was it when the White House blew up? Because
to me, it's the introduction of Will Smith.
Oh, okay.
Like, as soon as I meet Will Smith, that's when everything personally started clicking into place, and it was like, don't get me wrong, you need to have met the First Lady, mm-hmm, so that when Jasmine finds her, there's relevance to it. You don't want it to just be like, oh, you're the First Lady and we've never met you. Mm-hmm. So obviously, but it took what felt like an hour and a half to get to Will Smith. Right. I don't know if it was more or less, but it felt way too long to get to Will Smith. Mm-hmm. But as soon as we got to him, it was like everything's clicking. We're getting in the right pace of things. Him and his friend are very Top Gun.
Yes, yeah.
And so, like, and again, that's not an insult when I say they're very Top Gun. Like, it's that familiar relationship to where that when you meet these people, you're like, these people are important to the viewing. Whereas, no knock on Randy Quaid's kids, but like, we spend so much time with them, and it's like, do we really need to spend so much time with Randy Quaid's kids?
And they don't
He's a one-note.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. His one-note joke is a good one-note joke. Mm-hmm. But we could have had his joke set up way easier, way cleaner. Even had the kids interest. I just think so much of the first half could have been cut up to get there quicker.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So I remember seeing this film when I was little, right in the theater. So yeah, nostalgia.
I feel like I might have been in a drive-in or in the car. Uh-huh. I feel like I might have been in a car when I was watching it.
Okay, yeah, because I saw it in the theater with my dad and my brother. So I'll always have that fond memory. But rewatching it, it's like, this is a disaster movie through and through, but with aliens in it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say that the characters are necessarily dumb, but there are a lot of pointless characters. Like you have the Vivica A. Vox's friend, the stripper. Mm-hmm. She goes to the top just to get blown up. It's like, did we really even need her
I feel like she
as
was.
a character.
I feel like she was
anyway.
hot at that moment in time from some TV show.
The
friend.
Friend, yeah.
I don't know what it was, but she just has that I'm on a TV show vibe to me.
Okay.
And so that might be why she existed. It doesn't justify her existence, but I think that's probably why the character was so emphasized just to be wiped away.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. It's just so many characters that, to me, that were pointless.
I agree. Like I don't know if he was Secretary of Defense or whatever cabinet position guy in the White House who was like, "Oh, I know about Area 51," and
why the hell would he? Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
It's like, no, you're good. You're good. They're like, yeah, I knew, but I wanted you to be able to deny it in public. I'm like, yeah, that's totally your call, pal.
Right. Yeah, he's like, the vice president, executive, something. He was something, but it's like,
well,
why
I know
would
he's not
you
vice
know?
president because the vice president
Died. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And it's like, why the hell would he know about Area 51? But the president of the United States, and he was like, he says something as a collateral something. It was something.
They used the excuse that he came from the CIA, so whatever. But my point is, you don't have to have somebody lie or lie by omission to a primary character. All you have to do is introduce the character that does know what we need to know and get moving on. Like I enjoy that Jeff Goldblum's ex-wife works in the White House. That gives a good connection to get him to where he needs to be. That's fine. His dad is entertaining enough to warrant his existence. That's cool. I love Brent Spiner in Area 51, but all the things I keep complimenting are post meeting Will Smith. Once we meet Will Smith, that's when the movie takes off and is doing real good. But like, there's just so much what feels like filler. Like, oh, we must have a 3-hour movie.
Right.
We've got to put this stuff in here. Whereas if they would have pulled out the knife and did some cutting, I think it could have made for a better blockbuster. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy Independence Day 1996. To me, it is a fine film. It gets a 3 out of 5. Moving on, putting up that nice fight to try and stay here in this here all or nothing situation. What about yourself? How do you overall feel? If there's anything else you want to talk about, and then give us your rating / thoughts on Independence Day.
I mean, this to me is a perfect popcorn flick 1990 era film.
Yeah, you don't really have to think too hard.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, they expel everything out to you. The aliens are just bad. They're not a complex or anything, no moral compass. So it's like, yeah, we need to stop them at all costs, and they're just better than us at everything. But it's like, hey, we got to fight because this is humanity. So it's a 3. It really is. But the nostalgia for the film, like when I first saw it, it was a 5. I was in love with this film.
See, and I think that I'm with you there. Like as a kid, I didn't have the analytical mindset that I'm using right now. So I agree. I'd say when I was the year this came out, I probably would have been like, woohoo, it's the greatest thing ever. Like, and another great compliment I will give to Independence Day 1996 is I gotta get me one of these and all kinds of other just beautiful one-liners that victory dance, like all these things about it that still stand the test of time. Like I personally, while watching this, was like, everybody who made a movie after this loved this movie. It didn't matter if it was Zack Snyder with Man of Steel, Joss Whedon with The Avengers. If you can have a beam coming out of the sky to drill into the earth, we gonna do it because we loved us some Independence Day. We like, that movie did it so good, let's all just rip it off for the foreseeable future.
Destruction porn galore. I mean, it's like everybody's like, oh my gosh, did you see the explosion of the White House in New York City? Yes, do that for
White House down, Olympus is falling. Like, we gotta do it.
We don't care, we're blowing everything up. Yeah, that's an interesting point because after that, every major city was just getting blown up. And it was like, I never really thought about that.
Yeah, it's very influential. Visually speaking, you watch things that come out shortly after or long after, and it's like, well, you liked Independence Day.
Yeah. Well, okay, there is one thing I want to discuss.
For sure.
Because I think it's going to go into resurgence.
Yeah, that's cool.
The aliens.
What about them?
What did you think about the aliens?
You mean the design?
the design, their character, if you want to say, or do you think they're just like a force of nature?
Yeah, I don't feel like they had much of what I would call character, especially in the first film. I think the design is interesting due to the exoskeletal oversuit, if you will, and the fact that it's protecting a weaker. Because they make the argument at Area 51, once you get this protective armor off, they're just as weak as we are.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that's a double thumbs up idea. But yeah, I wouldn't say they had a character. Even in the second film, everything we learn about them is over time or from the sphere of knowledge that comes within Resurgence. So, do you think that the aliens themselves have character and or character development throughout the two films?
So the first one, no. They're just, quite frankly, just a force of nature, and they just want to take over because that's what they do. They're like a parasite, essentially.
Well, and I think when you talk about disaster film, they are a good representation of a disaster, whether it's an earthquake or an eruption of some sort, even snow or ice, whatever. It's something that is uncontrollable, whereas these things very much feel like this is just what we do, and there's not really a way to discuss it.
Right. And now the second one, I will say that they have a slight bit of a character because, okay, so going into Resurgence, I think part of the problem with this film is they blew their load. They were like, yo, this is going to be a 5-part movie series. they really did have like 5 movies lined up.
So I could feel, at the end, I could feel them wanting that ever-elusive sequel.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't feel like it was necessary. Like, you told me what you wanted to do in sequel, but I was like, I don't think I'll even tune in for it, to be honest with you.
Because they bring in another alien race that's supposed to, like, hey...
It's transcendent. It's Johnny Depp inside of a computer. We saw that movie, I think, a few years prior to Resurgence coming out. Didn't like it much, but...
So let's get the backdrop of Resurgence.
Yes.
So it's 20 years, 25 years?
20 years.
Humanity has used the alien technology to reinforce their weaponry, everything. Space travel, everything.
Every travel, really.
And it's smart because, it's like, hey, they could come back.
Well, and more importantly than smart, it's what people do. To the victor go the spoils. We win. We're using your stuff in whatever way that we find to be befitting to us.
Yes.
And so it's no different than, Genghis Khan or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Or anything in World War II. It's like,
exactly. Yeah.
Oh, we saw it. Yeah, we like it. We're gonna take
That's
it.
That's mine now.
Yeah, we're gonna take it.
What's the dude's name from Friday? Debo.
Yeah, Debo. It's mine.
It's mine.
Give me a change.
So I totally get the setup, but I don't like it. As soon as I see it, I'm just like, this isn't the movie I just came from. I get it. It's 20 years, but it's like, I feel so separated.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw the flying stuff, and the I didn't even know what it is, the stuff around the White House, I was like, whew.
I mean,
quickly I was turned off from this world just because it felt so, and I don't mean to say this, but alien to me, and not relatable.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Okay, so part of my problem with this film is I don't believe like Independence Day has legacy, but there are characters that to me they just pushed way aside because they're like, well, they either haven't done the movie or they're too old and they don't really want it, or we're just trying to bring in a new team.
Who's old?
Like Jeff Goldblum. He's old. He's not.
You didn't think he was emphasized enough in this film?
He's important, but to me, Chris Hemsworth's brother Liam, Will Smith's son from
A-Train.
Yeah, A-Train. He gets more importance because Will Smith is dead.
Which I think is BS.
Yeah. But hey, he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So
which is better than recasting, I guess.
Yeah.
But to me, the film strongly was lacking in Will Smith. Like, I think that potentially if we'd have had Will Smith instead of the president or Will Smith instead of Jeff Goldblum's dad, that it may have been enough to give me that thing that I needed to have the callback or the feelings pulling me back to the original. But without him, and maybe it's not him specifically, like there's a guy who, I don't know if it was a joke or whatever, but I'd heard for a few years was like the franchise rehabilitator, The Rock. So, since Journey to the Center of the Earth doesn't do good, give The Rock the next one, Journey to Mysterious Island. G.I. Joe didn't do so good, give The Rock the next one. G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Yep.
Fast and Furious, they're kind of struggling. Bring in The Rock.
Yep, and and it's true. I think
and so my point is, maybe had the foundation or the linchpin of this here continuation of the franchise been someone, not like I wanted to be Will Smith, but if it's not Will Smith, it was somebody else who had that gravitas to their that strength to their character. Not even a character. Like, I'm not trying to be mean to A-Train or
Liam,
or whose name I don't know in real life, but or Liam Hemsworth. Like, I'm not knocking either one. They did fine, and all the other ancillary additional characters, they were fine. That's,
you know what I just thought about.
What's that?
I think that the first one, what it had was that it was at least fun.
Oh, 100% fun.
And I don't think the second one, maybe the theme wasn't fun that they were trying to do. But
you know what? There
it.
was a character I think if they were more focused on, I think could have helped with the fun. It was the Warlord.
Oh, okay.
I really thought. Now he turned out to be nothing. He was there. He was interesting, but then he was no. There was no use for him. But the Warlord character, he felt to me like he could have been that fun character. Like he helped one of the no-name science dudes fight off the aliens at the end, and like he had machetes and like he I just think that he could have possibly, but even him, like nobody, there was no one character that was like, now that's my person.
Right.
Whereas Will Smith in the first film, it was clear. As soon as we met him, it was like, that's the one. So.
Okay, now, my biggest complaint, and I don't really like using this against like films because I think it's kind of a cop-out, but I think it's important with this one. I have a problem with the aliens, and the reason why is they level cities. Like, in the second one, they like lifted things up the ground and just totally there should be no reason in hell that they should have even lost. Like, that, I don't like using that because it's like, story needs to happen
how
and
about
stuff,
this?
But
don't raise the city and drop it if you aren't going to use it in the climax.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is you can have the gun and use it, but don't just forget you have it later on in the film. So, no, I agree with you. They were extra strong early on and then just forgot how to be strong at the end.
Right.
So, I wanted to like Independence Day Resurgence. I like Liam. I like Jeff Goldblum. I like the grown-up president's daughter. I like the president. The movie, to me, was only passable. It's a 2 out of 5. And to me, I apologize to Independence Day movie lovers. Or, I mean, honestly, you can still watch it whenever you want. So, my opinion doesn't matter. But, but with the ruling of this here channel regular of all or nothing, because not a majority of the franchise, although in this case there's only 2, but because a majority of the franchise did not get 3 or above, all of Independence Day is gone for Mr. Super Oz.
Yeah, same. I don't think that these films, if you just erase it from the zeitgeist, people would even really care.
Yeah, you just have to find a new way to do the whole thing with the Tesseract and Avengers and with Zod coming to Earth and Man of Steel. But other than the visual aspect of what has been taken away from it, I think other than that, you're not really missing anything.
Yeah.
Will Smith got so many other hits that like you miss one, are you really missing much?
Even though this is kind of what made him Mr. July 4th. But
yeah, absolutely. It was blockbuster city for him from that point on, even up until the point where he was so known for the blockbuster that Hancock had to be scrubbed down, cleaned up, made to be dun, 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 by the end because Will Smith was just known for summer blockbusters. So yeah, no, I understand that it's unfortunate to play the game, but that's how the rules are. And I apologize to Independence Day and Will Smith specifically, but
honestly,
in the first game of All or Nothing, Independence Day loses.
yeah, and I think part of the problem too, and I get like name brand recognition, but this shouldn't really be called Independence Day too, because why would the aliens just come back close to like July? I mean, there's a lot of things that kind of just don't really make.
You could have called this Christmas Day something something. It could have,
Right.
and for the third one, it could be Easter. The aliens are back.
Right. I mean, they really wanted to make this into a franchise, like very, very bad. But I think the issue was the aliens weren't really a character; they were just an entity, just a thing.
And like even when there's a new alien to tell us why, I didn't care about the why.
Right.
As soon as they said, "Here's what we want you to do," I was like, I don't really want to watch that.
And to make a franchise, you need a villain. You like a villain with something.
Yes.
Like some character. So it's kind of, yeah. I mean,
How about this is off topic and unnecessary, but as much as Ronan the Accuser gets dogged in the MCU, at least his was, we are the purities of things, and we're purifying, or yeah, basically that's what his gimmick was. We're purifying all the badness, right? So if these aliens were motivated to, we must take over because we're the something excellentness of the such and such galaxy. Well, at least there's a reason for it, unlike the current reasoning, which is just they're kind of like what was it, cicadas or locust? They were like, oh, they're like locusts. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, well we're still here and locusts exist, right? So I guess I just didn't care.
Yeah, it's like I'm not sure if you play Halo or like the video game.
I died a lot when I was younger.
Okay.
Playing that.
But you know, like the flood was like just the presence, an entity where the flood would, basically the Halo rings in Halo, spoiler alert, if they're activated, wipe out the entire universe.
Oh.
And the reason why is because of the flood. They're just a parasite. They latch onto everything and they just kill.
Okay.
So, but Halo wasn't about the flood. It was about the characters around that and like the lore about like where the Halo rings came from. But the first Independence Day didn't have any lore. It was just, we need to stop these bad aliens from taking over.
Well, it's like you said, disaster movie. We got to stop the avalanche or save the people from the earthquake. It wasn't driven with a purpose. And so, yeah, I think that's the problem. But while we talk about purpose, let's talk about the purpose of this channel. The channel, Mr. Super Oz, the purpose is to sell graphic novels.
Yes.
I wrote a graphic novel, Everlasting Survivors. Volume 1 is called All Day Long. It's $20. And there is a link to first printings that are still available in the description of the video. Thank you very much, sir, for playing the game. And so, did you give your final rating for Resurgence?
Yeah,
or the franchise?
2 out of 5. I mean, it's not you can watch it. And
Absolutely.
it's just fine. It's not.
I don't personally think so. My scale is trash, passable, fine, good, great. Right? I don't think it's trash or. So I've yet to give anything a 0 stars. So, but I give it 2. But just because it doesn't do 3 or above for both, or the majority in things that are above 2 films.
Yep.
We both cast Independence Day aside.
Sorry.
Yeah. But it was fun. I hope you have a happy 4th of July, sir.
Same.
Thank you. And come back next time. It'll be my first ever retro review, but for wrestling. And it'll be the Great American Bash of 2007. So let's see if that was any good. And enjoy.
See ya.